DJ Proof, Mamchina, Mauzi, Guturi Pat, Pararantem, Ayuaka Pinga, Nifingru, Edu, Tasimbisa, Echinja, Senchireti, Ayuaka Bata, Wakabata, Ambaoche Polangoma, Rambaoche Polangoma, Senchireti, Nepenyurevano, Dokatinozinzwa, Nauzacho. Mimanzi yacho DJ Proof ndati wedzere mawazi DJ Proof autse munhu wese kundovhota ngapinde mukomana ngapinde chamisa uyo achinge apinda corruption ichapera. We need to change, we want to grow, new Zimbabwe, new beginning. Change ratio nepenyure vanhu ndokwatinozinzwa nhau dzacho kuchiridzwa mimanzi yacho DJ Proof ndati wedzera mawazi vari kufamba vachitaura anzi change ratio tenema vanoshambadza zvekuyepa.
Hello viewers, my name is Michelle Karasa. Thank you for having us on our program News Review. Today we are discussing news that were making headlines during the week and the trending news that is currently happening at the moment. So with me we have got Chief Sose behind the scenes and other colleagues from Change Radio. So today we are discussing issues that are affecting the Zimbabwe. As you know, Change Radio is the voice of the voiceless. So we'll be discussing about the Hope for New Zimbabwe led by Advocate Nelson Chamisa as we await for the new vehicle from our commander, and we'll be also talking about the Mozambique Crisis. We will be also talking about challenges that are facing parents as the schools are opening to tomorrow. So to start the program, we want to talk about the hope with Zimbabwe of whereby every Zimbabwe is waiting for President Nelson Chamisa to launch the new vehicle. As you are aware, 2024 was a difficult year for the people of Zimbabwe. As you know, the President Nelson Chamisa resigned from CCC after discovering that the party was captured and infiltrated by the ZANU-PF regime after the regime employed the imposter Sengozo Tshabangu. So the president left CCC, but he didn't resign from active politics. As you are aware, late last year he said, "I will not leave politics until the people of Zimbabwe are free. The people of Zimbabwe are free from the tyrant rule and they are living a free life." So today we are talking a lot of issues that are affecting our party and what we expect as a country. Led by our president. As you know, President Chamisa is our leader who bring New Zimbabwe to us. And in every struggle, there is Moses. As you know, the children of Israel, they were led by Moses until they were free from the tyrant rule of Pharaoh. So in our case, Advocate Nelson Chamisa is our trusted lieutenant because throughout his political career, he never sought the struggle. Since the launch of the MDC 99, we faced many challenges, but President Advocate Nelson Chamisa never ever sought the struggle. So he's the only trusted leader that we have. And as you are aware, when you follow news that is trending, especially today, the imposter Shengezo Tshabangu today, they in his peers, they went to pre-cap farm owned by Emerson Mnangagwa, where they sealed their final deal of extending the presidential 2030 mantra that was seen by the ZANU-PF regime. And so today proves that when President Nelson Chamisa left Triple C, he found what was happening and what will be in store for the struggle. So over to you, Chief. What your comments about the trending event that is happening in the political arena in Zimbabwe, and also what will be the future of the new, or what will be the expectations for Zimbabweans from their people's president, Advocate Nelson Chamisa?
Well, I must say we are in a very difficult situation. It's a very complex situation. But of course, let me begin by welcoming everyone here. Thank you very much for joining. We appreciate you. I know some people are watching soccer right now. There's Real Madrid and Barcelona going on. Barcelona has just scored a penalty. So I know some are glued to their TVs on that. But going back to the question, I should admit that it's a difficult situation that we find ourselves in. And myself, I die for the truth. I say the truth as it is. Some people might not like it. Some people may not like it. That's okay. And some will like it. It's okay. Where we are right now is where ZANU-PF wants us to be. The opposition is in disarray. That is, if there is anything that you can call opposition. Opposition politics is at its lowest, and it pains me because of the input that I have personally put for the past 20 years, and the input that most Zimbabweans have put since the days of Morgan Tsvangirai. When I'm sure right now Morgan Tsvangirai is turning in his grave, saying, is this the opposition that I envisaged? Is this the opposition that I started? Is this the opposition politics that I died for? And more than 3,000 people have died in our struggle for a new Zimbabwe since 1999. And I'm sure they are very angry at what is happening right now. The state of opposition is deplorable. And what I saw today, the Tshabangu and the certain members of parliament, 16, 17 members of parliament that were at Mnangagwa's farm, is deplorable, to say the very least. What we are witnessing is an opposition that is doing politics for the stomach. Vanhu vari kuita politics dzedumbu, vanhu vari kuita politics dzekutsvaga mari. We can blame ZANU-PF, we can blame Emerson Mnangagwa. Yes, he is to blame. Yes, he is a cruel man. But this time we have to look at ourselves and ask ourselves questions. Are we fit to be called opposition? Are we fit to be called opposition leaders? Are we fit to be called opposition members of parliament? If we are doing what we are doing, you go and dine with ZANU-PF, you go and dine with Emerson Mnangagwa, you get invited to a farm, to Mnangagwa's farm, and you go there. Yet you were elected by the people. You are in parliament because you are elected by the people so that you can represent people's interests. And you know very well that the people of Zimbabwe are not happy with you going to Mnangagwa's farm. And these members of parliament went there without being forced. Nobody pushed them, nobody frog marched them to go to Mnangagwa's farm. They went willingly and they were happy. You could see that they were enjoying themselves. They are my friends that went there, but I don't care. I'll just say it as it is. And you also heard the speech or so-called speech by Tshabangu. Then you know that we don't have opposition in Zimbabwe, and we don't have honest and dependable people that are doing this for the sake of the country. Most people, like I said, are doing this for their stomachs. They're doing it for their personal gain. And it's very, very sad, very, very unfortunate, because there are people that have sacrificed their limbs, their even their lives, that have died because of this struggle. And yet we have people that are not genuine, people that are doing what they're doing for the sake of self-aggrandizement, for the sake of satisfying their needs. That's not what politics is about. Politics is about serving the people. Politics is about being the servant of the people and listening to what the people want. That is not what we are seeing. That is not what we saw today in at Emerson Mnangagwa's farm. I repeat, we can blame the so-called ruling party for all we can, but this is on us. Zimbabweans, we have a problem that we can't face the truth. We can't take responsibility of our own mistakes, of our own stupidity. We can't. We have to find someone to blame. But this is on us. Where are we as Zimbabweans? Where are we as opposition? What do we want to achieve? Are we trying to achieve independence for Zimbabwe? Are we trying to achieve a new Zimbabwe? Certainly, we cannot achieve a new Zimbabwe doing what we are doing. We need to go back to the drawing board. You know, I can go on and on. When you start me on things like this, that has to do with the people of Zimbabwe. If I see that the people of Zimbabwe are being duped, it makes me angry. If I see that there are people that are betraying the struggle, I get angry. And right now, that's where I am. So as opposition, we need to go back to the drawing board. We need to look at ourselves, and we need to admit that there is somewhere where we have made mistakes, and then we sit down and come up with new resolutions of how we want to execute the last stage of the liberation struggle. If we do not do that, and if Zimbabweans do not do that, then Emerson Mnangagwa is going to be your leader until the cows come back home. We need to reflect right now. We need to sit down right now. Now, not tomorrow. We can't wait. There's no time to wait. If we are serious about bringing change to Zimbabwe, something has to be done now. We can't wait for 2026. We can't wait for 2027. If someone comes in 2027 or 2028 or somewhere in 2026 saying I'm going to bring change to Zimbabwe, I'm not going to listen to that nonsense. I'll just, pack my bags and leave where I am. Where I am, I'm okay. But let's not fool the people. Let's not continue to fool the people. Let's do what the people, expect to see from us as leaders of opposition. I said I can go on and on. Back to you, my brother.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Chief, for your contributions. And our viewers, I think you hear the wonderful contribution made by Chief Sosem. Is our political analyst who have been in politics for more than 2 decades, and he experienced what the regime do to people, and is always fighting for the people, for the masses. And I think, as the chief social says, the ball is in everyone's court. Every citizen has a role to play in this struggle. We have the role to play to defend our freedom, and we as a Zimbabwe, we should suppose to fight to protect our constitution. As you know, we don't want the regime to touch our constitution, or to do what we touch our constitution, or to do what we call constitutional coup, trying to manipulate the constitution to suit what they want. So it's the role of every citizen, and also our political leaders, people who want to lead us, should be servant leaders. They should hear the voice of the people. They should walk in this struggle with the people, not to follow their what their stomach tells them to do. When they are rich or they have new cars, they forget about the people. They make their own personal decisions, and they saw the struggle. So thank you, Chief. So at this moment, I urge you viewers to follow and like our social media platforms. It's Change Radio. We've got Facebook, we have got WhatsApp, Instagram, and Twitter. Please follow those social platforms where you receive current news, not propaganda. So the next topic that we are going to discuss about is about the Mozambican crisis. As you know, on 9 October 2024, Mozambicans, they voted in elections. After the elections were announced, there was chaos in Mozambique, where the opposition says the elections results were fraud, and there was demonstrations in major cities around Mozambicans. At one time, the border post of between Mozambique and South Africa was closed. More than 250 people died, and more than 2,000 prisons, they fled from one of the maximum prisons in Mozambique. The many opposition presidential candidate, Venancio Motlanthe, who participated in this election, said he won the election. So one of his colleagues, including his lawyer, Diaz, and a member of parliament aspirant, Gwambe, they were shot dead when they were on their way to file a petition to the court. So, as you know, Venancio fled the country after the fearing for his life, and he fled to a known destination, although some they said he was in Europe. But he instructed the people of Mozambique to continue their demonstration, because he gave instructions through social media, especially the Facebook. And until recently, on the 9th of January, Venancio said, I will come back to Mozambique and I want to be with the people. So on the 9th, Venancio came back to Mozambique, and now he's in Mozambique. And through this process, you find out the opposition filed their petition to the Constitutional Council. And on the 23rd of December, the Constitutional Council, which is the highest court in terms of elections in Mozambique, they upheld the elections and said the Frelimo won the elections by 65%, and Venancio won by 24%. and Renamo 6%, MDM by 4%. But the opposition insisted that the election were rigged. Opposition party led by Venancio won the election, and the demonstration continued until now. On the 5th, the SADC trigger on politics, defense and security, they held their virtual meeting where they came up with the solution of sending the Council of Elders to Mozambique, led by Jakaya Kikwete, and also South Africa said they are willing to assist Mozambique wherever necessary, and also on the other side, the President Nyusi is trying to negotiate with other political players, but unfortunately, he is leaving the main contender, which is Venancio. And in the past week, there was exchange of words where Venancio was not confident on how one of his colleagues in his coalition is doing. It seems he's trying to run away from VM. So that is what is happening today, currently in Mozambique. But as you know, politics in Mozambique, in Southern Africa, or in Africa in particular, we are waiting to see what will be happening next. As you know, on the 15th of January, Mozambique is expecting to inaugurate Daniel Chapo as the president. When Venancio Motlanthe arrived in Mozambique, himself inaugurated himself as the people's president, because he's saying he was the one who was elected by the president, by the people of Zimbabwe. So he's the president of Mozambique. So though Motlanthe says he's also willing to negotiate with the other partners in this to make a long solution, lasting solution in this crisis, because as you see, or as you are aware, the crisis in Mozambique at the moment, it's not a constitutional crisis, it's a political crisis, because legally, if you see what the Constitutional Council did, it means the elections will, me personally, I can see that legally the elections will not be having a rerun in elections in Mozambique. But the best way is to find a political solution. But unfortunately, in politics in Southern Africa, according to previous experiences, if you look at the current events happening in Mozambique, where President Nyusi is trying to use what is called the divide and rule tactic, whereby he's trying to divide the opposition by leaving the main contender, who is Venancio. And as you are aware, Venancio has got the support, especially of the youth. So he's trying to buy other opposition parties, like the Podemos party, which is led by Albino Foquila, who is also the in coalition partnership with the Venancio. So Podemos currently has got 43 MPs in parliament, but when they were campaigning, they were saying they won 138 election. So it's like Frelimo is trying to buy some opposition parties to leave or to isolate Venancio. So that is one of the major challenges that is currently in Mozambique. And as you are aware, we don't have confidence in how the Council of Elders will handle this issue. As you are aware, Council of Elders are some of them, they are the ones who created those problems that we are currently facing in our countries. And the other thing that might happen, but that one will not make the long solution in Mozambique, is to agree to form a government of national unity. Government of national unity in Southern Africa is another way whereby if the ruling party, especially the liberation movement, lost ground or lost elections, they'll use GNUs as a way of redeeming themselves, because they understand that when they are in GNU with the opposition, at times when the opposition figures entered in government and they started to enjoy the benefits of being in government, some of them, the members, they forgot their struggle. So the ruling party will start to gain the lost ground. So yeah, we are yet to see the final the solution on how Mozambicans will address this crisis. Chief Source, how do you see the issue, the crisis in Mozambique? How is it going to be addressed? And as Zimbabweans, what do you learn from what is happening from Mozambique?
Thank you for that. To those that are watching, the El Clasico, Madrid is now 4-1 down. It's becoming embarrassing. Just before halftime, it's 4-1 to Barcelona. Anyway, back to Mozambique. Mozambique is doing what a country that needs change is doing. And Zimbabweans need to learn. We need to learn from Mozambicans. We have been given so many examples, but we are quick to say our situation is different. We are quick to say Emerson Mnangagwa is more cruel than any other leader anywhere else. But how many people have died in Mozambique? Over 50 people have died in Mozambique. I'm not saying we want Zimbabweans to die. I'm not saying we want people to die. I'm not saying blood has to be shed. But the truth of the matter, Zimbabweans, is if we want freedom, freedom doesn't come cheap. Freedom doesn't come on a silver plate. Freedom is not going to walk to us. Freedom is not going to meet us halfway. We have to go out of our way. We have to go all the way and get freedom for us. Freedom is never given voluntarily by the oppressor. Freedom is demanded by those that want it. I don't think we are doing that as Zimbabweans. I don't think we are demanding our freedom, and I don't think we are prepared to go all the way for freedom. Therefore, if we are not there, if we are not prepared to do what the Mozambicans are doing, and then you tell me that SADC is going to intervene in Zimbabwe's elections in 2023 or in future, I will look at you and I will say you are an idiot, because that's not going to happen. You know, we expected SADC to intervene in Zimbabwe's situation in 2023 when we were sitting in our homes, when we were seeing members of parliament being taken off the ballot boxes, the ballot papers, and we were remaining quiet, and we remained in the comfort of our homes wherever we were. I'm not blaming the people in Zimbabwe only. I'm blaming everyone, every Zimbabwean, because we could have demonstrated here in America, we could have demonstrated in Canada, we could have demonstrated heavily in the United Kingdom, we could have demonstrated everywhere where there is presence of Zimbabweans. We watched while ZANU-PF ran roughshod over us, and we cried and we said SADC was supposed to intervene. Not even one demonstration, not even one protest, and we expected SADC to intervene. You are seeing what is happening in Mozambique. Over 50 people have died, and SADC still has not intervened. And then you have hope that one day SADC is going to deliver or is going to come and be on the side of opposition. Forget it. It's not going to happen. If we don't rise up, if we don't take a stand as Zimbabweans and get in the streets and do what we have to do to get freedom, then it's not going to happen. Tinoramba tichingoita zvatiri kuita izvozvo kusvika tasvika 2030. Izvozvi we saw what happened in with at Mnangagwa's farm today. He has obviously been endorsed for 2030. What are we doing as opposition? What are we doing as Zimbabweans? We need to be taking advantage of these situations and saying, no, we can't accept this. We draw a line and we say, this far we can't go. That's what we should be doing. Hear me out. That's why I said but that's where we are. If we keep telling ourselves that we are going to free Zimbabwe, we're going to bring change to Zimbabwe, and we're not prepared to do what it takes, we're not prepared to protest, we're not prepared to push ZANU-PF, ZANU-PF will not move. Have you seen Emmerson Mnangagwa speaking? He's not speaking like someone who is going to be out of power the next day or next month or in 3 years or in 2 years. He's speaking as someone who knows that he's going to be there until the cows come back home. We might be stuck with him the same way we were stuck with Robert Mugabe. If we do not look at ourselves and do what we need to do, without force, without pressure, ZANU-PF is going nowhere. That's the truth. We need to man up. We need to roll up our sleeves. We need to put on our boots, and we need to do what we need to do, what we have to do, what a persecuted citizenry do. Rise up, get in the streets, demonstrate, do everything wherever you are. Not to expect SADC to come to save us. SADC is never going to come to save us. If SADC was there, if SADC was serious about saving its member states, they would have intervened positively in Mozambique. But right now, as we are seeing, they are not intervening in a positive manner. They are actually advising the Mozambican government. And everything that is happening there, it's a playbook of ZANU-PF. It's ZANU-PF all over, ZANU-PF 2.0. The tactics that they used in Zimbabwe, where they inform or they advise the incumbent to kill, to shoot to kill, is what we are seeing in Mozambique, where we are seeing the incumbent being advised to, gather all the opposition members or opposition gullible opposition members and leaders and political parties to gather and try to find an internal solution. Is what we have seen in Zimbabwe, is what we have seen Emmerson Mnangagwa doing in Zimbabwe. So it's a repeat of what we already know. But I want to salute the people of Mozambique, and I want to salute the only meaningful opposition leader in Mozambique who has stood against the regime, against all adversities. He has stood up, and right now he is in Mozambique and he continues to fight. That's what you do when you want freedom, when you want change. Other than that, Zimbabweans, let's forget about change in Zimbabwe. We have to change our strategy, and we have to, take away fear and put everything, courage and bravery, wear bravery and courage, and then confront ZANU-PF. What we saw at the farm, at Mnangagwa's farm, is testimony of what is coming. It's only the tip of the iceberg, where people are selling out so openly in daylight. I've always told people when I'm talking outside, off the camera, that people have a price in Zimbabwe, and Emerson Mnangagwa can afford it. I don't know who doesn't have a price, but from my perspective, people that are purporting to be in opposition politics are selling out, and it's a pity. It's painful to imagine that this is where we are as opposition. Thank you, my brother. Back to you.
Thank you, Chief. Yeah, sure. People, they are taking politics as a career or as a self-help project, where if they are broke, they can come and become members of parliament, councillors, as a way of getting funds or resources. So yeah, our next topic that we are going to discuss about, it's about back to school. As you know, this is January. Tomorrow, schools will be going to open, but unfortunately, January is always a difficult year for most of the parents. As you are aware, there are many challenges that are facing people in Zimbabwe when it comes to education. And if you look at our government, they are neglecting our education system. Our education system is deteriorating each and every day since we attained independence. Some of the challenges which are faced by most of the parents is, if you look at the cost of school fees, most of the schools, they are charging exorbitant fees. They are also charging in US currency, while most of the parents, they are unemployed. Some of them, they don't earn their salaries in US dollars, they earn their salaries in ZiG, which is deteriorating its value each and every day. So you find out most of the parents, they are facing challenges, and you find out most of the schools, they don't accept children if you are not paying the school fees. If you still recall, in 2020, President Emerson Mnangagwa signed a law which is called Education Amendment Act, which compels free education. And the Education Amendment Act states that the state must take all practical measures to promote free compulsory education for children. Free compulsory education for children. Because education is a right, it's not a privilege. So it's like education, every child in Zimbabwe must have access to education, not depending on the financial background of his or her parents, but it's a right. Say, like the right yatinayo pakurarama, everyone has a right to life. Mwana wese has a right to education. Unfortunately, the government, they promised that there will be free education in Zimbabwe. But until today, there's no free education. At one time, the Minister of Finance, Muturinuwe, said, if we provide free education, we will be broke, which is an unfortunate statement that we don't expect from a government official, because the government is there to serve the people. So you can't say if you provide any essential service to the people, you'll be broke. But the government have got monies, millions of dollars are spent on cooking nyeve around the country, while most of the children can't afford to go to school. So the other problem is it comes when it comes even to infrastructure. The government is not building enough schools. The population is increasing each and every day, each and every year, but the government is not prioritizing building schools in urban and rural areas. And you find in some areas pupils, children are learning in shacks or makeshift structures where they don't have access to toilets and water. They don't have stationary and qualified teachers. And you also find out that there is a mushrooming of private colleges, and some of them, they are not registered, and where they were conducting their business or their lessons, you will find out they are not safe for the children. But due to the fact that in their communities, the government is not building schools that can cater for all the children in the area. For the few schools that are available, you find out the teacher to ratio is something that is not good. You find out a teacher might have one teacher might have children of about 60, 65, which is not good, and we don't expect such types of environment in this 21st century in a country like Zimbabwe, where we have more than 65 minerals. Then we also have the issue of even the cost of uniforms. You might see that most of the uniforms are charged in forex, and they are costing, they are very expensive. Stationery, you find out before independence in 1980, during the Smith regime, and in the early 80s, schools provide all stationery, including the exercise books and the textbooks. They were financed by the government. But if you look nowadays, it is the responsibility of a parent to buy the stationery, textbooks, and exercise books, and the pencil. It's the responsibility of the parent. While it's the government, they've got the money to spend to buy Mercedes Benz, which cost a lot of $1,000 instead of financing educational sector. And also you see that even the teachers that are administering the classrooms, they are demotivated. If you look late last year, their salaries were delayed, and they are earning peanuts. And teachers, they are treated as the enemies of state. They are also treated as slavery. If you look at how much a teacher is earning currently, you will find out that the teachers in Zimbabwe are mistreated by the government, while the teachers are the backbone of the economy, are the backbone of future leaders, both in public and private sector. But the government doesn't take care about teachers, so parents are facing challenges. So this is a difficult year, difficult period for the parents of parents in Zimbabwe, especially when it comes to education. You find out some of the parents vanoita stress They end up admitted in hospitals because the demands dzinenge dzichidiwa kuzvikoro dzakanyanyisa, and some of the school authorities they pretend kunge vasiri kugara muZimbabwe, vanoziva matambudziko ari kusanganzwa nawo munyika. Chief, how do you see the current situation in Zimbabwe, where the government is neglecting the education sector, or especially the social cluster? The government is neglecting, but they've got money to spend in other luxurious things like motor vehicles and the foreign trips.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm multitasking here. Barcelona just scored another goal here. It's now 5-1. We are seeing a massacre in the El Clasico. But yes, our education system is a sorry state. We used to be one of the best in terms of education, in terms of the literacy rate in Africa, if not in the world. We are one of the most respected, but now our education system has crumpled. It has gone to the dogs. Even our graduates, they are no longer as respected as they used to be. That's how, and that's how far Emerson Mnangagwa has taken us. That's how far ZANU-PF has taken us, and it's a pity, because right now people can't pay even school fees for $10. Children are getting chased away from classes because they can't afford to pay $10. Just this term, term that is starting now in Zimbabwe, I think I spent over $2,000 helping friends and family, helping fellow comrades who are in need of school fees. And it's a sad scenario. It's a sad state. That's not how it should be. Parents used to afford to take their children to school. My parents were not even middle class earners. They were the lower class. They, were people that lived from hand to mouth, but they were still able to take me to school. They were still able to take my brothers and my sisters to school. But that's not the situation right now. Even those that call themselves middle class, that is, if we even have any middle class in Zimbabwe, we have the haves that have a lot of money, that belong to ZANU-PF, that have connections in ZANU-PF, that have a lot of money, and then we have the have-nots, the people, the riffraff, us, the people, in the streets, people on the ground that don't have anything. So we don't have middle class anymore in Zimbabwe. So the majority of the people can't afford to take their children to school, and about 10%, those that are eating with the powers that be, they can afford to take their children anywhere in the world, even the most expensive private schools. You find the most expensive private schools in Zimbabwe. I am a teacher by profession. I come from a teaching background. Of course, I'm now retired, as far as teaching is concerned. I taught in private schools in South Africa. I taught in private schools in Botswana, and I also taught here in the United States of America. I can tell you that Zimbabwe's private schools are the most expensive in Southern Africa. Most of them, they're very expensive. And you wonder who is taking their children there. It is the privileged few. The majority can't even pay the $15 school fees that is paid in rural schools. It's very unfortunate, and it's very disheartening. Everyone that you talk to in Zimbabwe, they are crying. They can't afford the fees. You might think that they're joking. They're not joking. They can't afford, because that's how life has become under Emerson Mnangagwa and ZANU-PF. But The truth of the matter is, it's only going to get worse. Zvakambotaurwa naTsvangirai zviya zviya kuti hamusati matambura ndikoko kwatiri kuenda kwacho ikoko. Vanhu vakati Tsvangirai azotaurirei mashoko iwayo. But that's where we are right now. It's gonna get worse with Emmerson Mnangagwa. It's gonna get worse with this ZANU-PF that we have right now. And if people continue to play with people's lives, with the people of Zimbabwe, the way they are doing right now, I'm telling you, we are all going to be heartbroken. More than I know people are heartbroken right now. People that are listening here, I know you're heartbroken, but it's going to get worse if we do not take action, if we do not do something about this situation. We need to regroup Zimbabweans. We need to go back to the drawing board and find out where we have gone wrong and admit where we have gone wrong and come up with a strategy, a sincere strategy that will remove ZANU-PF. If we don't do that, then I'm telling you, we'll continue to have these situations where children are being chased away from classes, where children can't even perform because they don't have anything, they don't have books, they don't have the right things, the right environment that they need for them to succeed. So it's painful that we are where we are today. But again, it's on us. We are the only ones who can say no to this situation. If we don't say that, then the situation will perpetuate, and the children of the poor will continue not affording school fees, will continue not affording even to go to school. I know Change Radio did a rough survey a few weeks ago about the situation in the country. People were talking about not able to take their children to school. Some were saying our children are sitting at home. We can't afford to pay school fees. And that's the scenario. And it's only going to get worse until we as Zimbabweans decide to take a stand and say no to this nonsense. Don't listen to what is happening in ZANU-PF. Don't listen to the squabbles, so-called squabbles between Emmerson Mnangagwa and the general, and you pin your hopes on that. Because I also know that even some of our leaders, they are taking, they take that, those created squabbles seriously, and then they think that they are going to work out a deal with the general or something like that. The general always stand with ZANU-PF. When it matters most, even if ZANU-PF is divided, when it matters most, they come together to retain their power because they know that they are safer in each other's hands than in the opposition. So don't fool yourself, and don't be fooled that there's a deal that is going to be made between the general and the opposition. It's not going to happen. We can hope and hope, and we can think and think, and we can look forward to things like that, and we can get entertained by what ZANU-PF will be throwing at us. It's like ZANU-PF throwing bonds. It's like, bonds to us, and we start, fighting over those bonds, and we start getting excited when we see people, assumedly fighting. They're not fighting. ZANU-PF are not fighting. Even if they fight, I tell you, they always regroup to take power, and they don't think about the opposition. So let's not think in the lines of anything to do with ZANU-PF. Let's think about ourselves as people, as citizens, and find solutions on our own. And the solutions are with us because we have power. We just don't realize how much power we have. We have so much power that if we decide to unleash it today, Zimbabwe will be free.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Chief. Then I think the other issue that pendera chirongwa chedu is the issue. It's not a very topical issue. I think we discuss next week, but is the world awaits for the inauguration of the 47th President of the United States, Donald Trump. most of the people around the world, they are following what is happening, as you are aware that the president-elect is already busy appointing his people or cabinet that will be he is going to work with. Some of the people like Elon Musk is also part of his team. And we also know that the inauguration will be on the 20 on Monday, 20 January 2025. And there were leaders who were invited from around the world. Surprisingly, some of the noted figures who are invited is the president of China, Xi Jinping, was invited, and the Salvador president Bekele, who was called the silent dictator, he was also invited to the inauguration, but no to Russia. In Africa, we expect some president from countries like Botswana and Mozambique and the other Western African countries. Unfortunately, I'm told the Zimbabwean president is not on the list of the invited dignitaries to this event. Chief, what do you expect for the new administration when it comes to foreign policy between Zimbabwe and United States? Do we expect any new changes in terms of foreign policy when President Donald Trump take office next week?
No. There won't be any change in policy. I know most ZANU-PF people were celebrating when Donald Trump won, but what I know is, the United States is very steadfast. They know what they want from the rest of the world, whether it's the Democrats or the Republicans that are in power. They don't shift that much. They don't deal with terrorists. They don't negotiate with terrorists. They know that in Zimbabwe we have a government that is terroristic. We have a government that kills its own people. We have a government that abducts its own people. We have a government that has impoverished its own citizenry. We have a government that doesn't care about its own people. We have a government that is corrupt. We have a government that is looting the country's resources, and they are also very much aware of the relationship between Zimbabwe and China and the relationship between Zimbabwe and Russia. And obviously, they're not excited about that. So you cannot expect any change of policy towards ZANU-PF under Emerson Mnangagwa. And that's also obviously the reason why a person like Emerson Mnangagwa would never get invited to the inauguration of an American president. That will never happen. So nothing is going to change. I know, like I said, ZANU-PF people were celebrating when Trump won, but Trump is an American president. He doesn't represent his interests. He's a leader who also, listens to the American people, hate him or like him, but he knows what the Americans expect from him. So he would not do anything that is against the interest of the American people. I did not vote for him, obviously. I voted for the Democrats, but I have confidence that there won't be any policy change. I know people have been talking about the connection between Elon Musk and some people in Zimbabwe. That's just that. You don't see America, coming in and playing dilly-dally with a dictator or with a terrorist. It won't happen. So it's just that. But going back to the inauguration, yes, We now await the inauguration of Donald J. Trump coming back for his second term, and we are also bracing ourselves. We should tell the world that we are bracing ourselves for a completely different kind of leadership, different and maybe very unfavorable immigration policies that he's going to unleash. We know that. We are expecting that. We are also expecting a lot of deportations. People are bracing themselves up for that. If you're in America, just try to stay on the right side of the law. Don't do anything stupid. The DUIs, driving under the influence, fighting, stealing, getting involved, drugs, and all sorts of things, because they are going to start by targeting people that would have committed crimes. Those definitely doesn't matter who you are. You're a citizen, or you're a green card holder, or you have a permit to stay here. You'll be deported. Deportations are definitely going to come. We thank God that the budget that he had proposed, that was being backed by Trump, was not voted in, because it would have been, if it had been adopted, it would have given him billions of dollars to implement his immigration policies. Now that that was not voted in, even by his own people, by some Republicans. I know that there are only 16 Republicans that voted for that budget. So we are really thankful that that budget did not go through. We wait and see if you try to push it again. But I think he has already seen that a lot of people are not in agreement with the policy changes that he announced, mass deportations, changes in education, completely, revamping, not revamping, even removing the education sector and replacing it with his own version. A lot of people are not happy with that. So we are happy that the budget was not adopted. But the good thing about things in America is things are done transparently. If someone didn't get a vote, they don't get a vote. If something was not approved, it's not approved, and they have to go back to the drawing board and start all over again. So we await to see what happens. But of course, us who are in the oil and gas industry, we know that he's going to come and do a lot of good things, and we're already looking forward to a lot of improvements in the industry.
Chief, right, our last topic, just 1 minute or two. On Wednesday, I see that Chief, you like soccer very much. Yeah, and today I think, I'm sorry we disturb you to watch the soccer between the Madrid match. In Zimbabwe, football will be having elections on Wednesday, January 15, where will be the ZIFA councillors will be electing the new ZIFA board. As you know, currently, after Zimbabwe was banned by FIFA due to the interference of government in the affairs of running of football, there was a ZIFA normalization committee which was appointed by ZIFA, which is led by Likoni Mtasa. So they are going to have elections on Wednesday. And we have got some people who are contesting, especially for the presidential position. Like we have got people like Martin Kweza, Twine Piri, the former Cape United owner, Makwinji Piri, the former footballer. We have Filmon Machana and Ngobile Magwizi. Those are the people who are contesting for the ZIFA president post. Though we have some people who were disqualified due to several reasons, as the new committee regulations, like Benjani Marwaru, Temba Muliswa, Walter Magaya, yeah. So, and people, they are waiting for change in the way how Zimbabwean football is run, because for the previous years, you find out Zimbabwean football was in tatters. We end up having no even a ground to play the international matches. We were homeless. Until today, we don't have a home ground for the national team, because all our grounds, they were condemned by the by FIFA and CAF panels. They said they were not suitable for international, and they are not there's no safety. So yeah, so people, they are expecting someone who is going to change or to rejuvenate the football. As you know, Zimbabwe is a football nation. It's one of the sports that united people, uh, uh, whether you come from different political backgrounds, from religious backgrounds, tribes, or nationalities. Football is a unifying sports, but unfortunately, we have the people who led the soccer bodies, but they were not interested to change the face of football. You find out most of them, they were like politicians at times, because they were interested about getting vehicles and money. It's like they join those positions to loot resources, not to serve the nation. So, Chief, what's your comment on the new development that is going to happen in Zimbabwean football? And also, we had some of the people, they were complaining. They said, it seems there are some politicians who want to capture the football, because we find there are politicians who are coming to contest in those elections. It's like they are saying the regime also wanted to capture the Zimbabwe board. So what's your comment about the ZIFA elections and the future of Zimbabwean football after the elections?
Well, the future is bleak. I'm a soccer fan, home and away. I follow Zimbabwean soccer. I follow international soccer. Right now, I know that ZANU-PF is trying to ZANUize our Zimbabwean soccer. As we know that there is a team owned by Scott, which is known as Scotland. If you see the amount of money that has been put in Scotland, it's more than the money that is given to a team that would have won the ZIFA Championship, the Zimbabwe Premier League Soccer Championship. It's very unfortunate. A team that wins the soccer championship in Zimbabwe gets $100,000, but Scotland, that is owned by ZANU-PF mafia, Scott and the rogue member of parliament, it's sponsored to the tune of millions of dollars by people that obviously support ZANU-PF, Queen B and his companies, EcoBank, which we know that is owned by the regime. All those have come in with thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars supporting Scotland. And then you wonder, what is the sense of making one team, making available a plethora of resources to only one team, when the league itself is struggling, when the country itself can't even afford to host international matches. That money could have been put into stadiums, renovating stadiums, and making sure that Zimbabwe have stadiums that meet international standards. But no, they would rather give each other the money because they know that it's their money. It's just money that is being taken from Tagwire, and it's put in Scott's team. Money that is coming from his companies, the banks, the Equal Bank, and others, and it's going to Scott. It's mafia money. It's money that belongs to Zimbabweans that is just being channeled towards one team, and it's very sad. It's a very very sad scenario. And coming to the ZIFA elections, we know already that ZIFA wants this guy, what's his name, Mobile Magwizi, to become the ZIFA chairperson because he's the finance guy for for Queen B. He works for his companies already. So you know that if Magwizi becomes the chairperson of ZIFA, it's ZANU PF. There are no two ways about it, and they are doing everything that they can, disqualifying candidates, potential candidates, and other people, so that Magwizi can come in. I don't care about his qualifications, but I can tell you that he's not the best person who should be the ZIFA chairperson. It shouldn't be about money. It should be about the passion. It should be about the love for football. I would love to see the ZIFA chairmanship going to a former player like Benjani Marwaru or Makwinji Somapiri or any other. But Benjani has already been disqualified. We are left with a poorly funded Makwinji Somapiri who doesn't have the resources. If companies, if organizations were sincere about the love for soccer, they would have rallied behind Makwinji Somapiri because he has been through the mill. He has been a player, he has been a coach, and he knows Zimbabwean soccer, and he obviously has a big heart for Zimbabwean soccer. But unfortunately, that's not happening. It looks like we're going to end up with Magwizi as the ZIFA chairperson, and that would completely finalize the Zanufication of the Zimbabwe soccer in general. It will now be ZANU PF everywhere. They've captured soccer the same way that they've captured our courts, the same way that they've captured most of our institutions, and now they're going to the people's game, and they're just imposing whatever they want, including the candidates that they want. I feel sorry for traditional teams like Dynamos and Capes United and Highlanders. They are not getting the sponsorship that they should be getting. The money is now in the hands of a few people. The money is in the hands of the ZANU PF mafia, and the ZANU PF mafia have decided to form their own team in the name of Scotland in Mavuku, and they are signing all the good players. They are signing all the best players in Zimbabwe. So what kind of a league are we going to have? It's very unfortunate. It looks like we are just having it all bad everywhere, in schools, in politics, in our economy, even in our entertainment, in soccer now. It has been taken over by ZANU PF. It's very unfortunate.
Thank you, Chief, for your contribution and having us on this program. Do you have any deliberation, any contribution before we close the program? Okay, thank you, viewers, for having with us for this program. Have a great weekend. Please follow our social media platforms, Change Radio Facebook, Change Radio WhatsApp, Change Radio Instagram, Change Radio Twitter. Follow and you will receive news, real-time news from Change Radio. Thank you. Bye for now.
Terera, 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 a Change Radio. Terera, 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 a Change Radio. Terera, 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 a Change Radio. Change Radio. Univinyu wani notaura zvinemusoro terera. Change Radio. Vanoda kunga nyusi dzemandoro kwati terera. Change Radio. Vanoda kunga nyaya dzeshanduko terera. Change Radio. Change Radio. Terera, terera, terera. Change Radio. Terera, terera, terera. Change